Today, we're going to discuss the 5 reasons that you may qualify for lower car insurance premiums. The first one is where you're located makes a difference. So if you've moved recently, make sure that your car insurance company knows your new location. I get it. It's kind of a tricky scenario. It's supposed to be rated at specific areas, and the zip code makes a difference. Now, it used to be per zip code, and it's switched a little bit to where the states are now using what's called a territory. So instead of zip code 4959, whatever those zip codes are, those were like the risk zone. So one zip code could be really high risk, one zip code next to it could be less of a risk, so on and so forth. And they've lumped them all together to where more of the zip codes are sharing the cost. So the better zip codes are mixed with the worse zip codes and vice versa. That way you get more of a fair premium in most cases. So if you've moved, make sure you find out the county and the zip code. You would be surprised how many times we log into an insurance quote and the price went drastically up. The first thing we do is we look at the location to see if the county has changed. Sometimes the quotes switch counties because it doesn't know which one you're in. So it defaults to a basic county, which could be a higher risk. So number one, the way that you could qualify for a cheaper price on your car insurance is to check the location that you're at. Number two is driving less. If you're driving less miles today than you were previously, let your insurance carrier know that you might be qualifying for a discount. Typically, the mileage goes from 0 to 3,000 miles, from 3,000 miles to 6,000 miles, from 6,000 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, and then anything after 12 is usually about the same. There's a few carriers that care about the more mileage, but honestly, if you're driving more than 15,000 miles a year, you're probably paying the same rate either way. If you're driving less than 5,000 miles per year, then you likely qualify for a low mileage discount. It's changed a lot in the last several years to where insurance companies aren't just looking at the low mileage discount anymore. They want to know if you're driving between that 6 and 8, that 8 and 12, and the 3 and 4, whatever those numbers are, can give you a better deal depending on the amount of risk that there is. The less miles you drive, typically the better. Now, for those that are really low mileage, you may want to look at something called a pay per mile program. Companies like Nationwide do the pay per mile where you pay a lower fee for the whole policy and then you pay them on mileage. Now your rate will fluctuate. So when you drive less miles, you pay less of money. When you drive more miles, your price will go up on insurance. So it is a month to month switch, but it's like your heat bill. It can go down or up depending on how much you use. If you are looking to get with companies that do work with either the pay per mile or have special discounts on mileage, I'll put a link in the description below where you can work with an independent agent that can shop that across multiple companies. Where you do one quote, you don't pay extra, you don't have to worry about that part, and you get the best deal without having to watch 100 of my videos. Don't get me wrong, I want you to watch as many videos as possible because it works out better for my favor if you watch more, but the cheat is to talk to an agent directly. Number 3 is one of the shocking ones. This comes from an article from Lifehacker, is to check your family size, which was a unique one. And I actually do agree that they are correct that your family size does matter with a few carriers. Most carriers don't care about the family size. When you're in states like Michigan or in states like Florida, maybe California, some of the higher risk states, Louisiana, all those states have different rules on how many people are liable. It's usually the states that have what's called PIP, personal injury protection. It's a medical that you have to carry, and you have to account for the people in your house. That way, if someone gets injured in a car accident, they're covered on that policy. So they need to know how many people live in the house. It doesn't mean you have to insure the person. More often than not, you can exclude them and say, I don't want them covered at all. Be careful because excluding somebody does exclude them completely. So if they do ride in your car or drive your car, just know that it's not covered. Number 4 is to take a defensive driving course, or if you're 50 or older, you can take what's called a mature driving course. So there's 2 versions of them. They're pretty much the same thing either way. It's an online tutorial where you can either go into the DMV and take it, you take a test or whatever that case is, or you can go online on your own computer and take that defensive driving course. Now, I in the past have not been a fan of this one because the discount hasn't really been that large, but I've on this channel had people tell me it's a major discount. I've had people say they've gotten 20+% off just for taking a defensive driving course. And if the case is you're taking it because you have tickets, that's a huge benefit. Keep in mind, if you're doing it because of a ticket, it doesn't eliminate the ticket. Most people think that the defensive driving course removes the points on the license, which it usually does, but it doesn't remove the ticket from insurance. The event happened and insurance is going to file it either way, regardless of the points. So that part won't make a difference. but it will give you a large enough discount to where it might take a lot of that increase that you normally would have had, that 20 to 30% increase, and knock it in half or even more. And the fifth one is to shop when you're renewing your policy. If you've been with an insurance carrier for more than 5 years, you're qualified for something called a longevity discount or a good client discount or a loyalty discount. And every carrier, at least the ones that I know, the good ones, will give you a discount for the longevity that you've had with a previous company. Now, if it's been less than 5 years and it's been 3 years, you're still good there. 3 to 5, 5 on up. Those are the main points when you want to look at other policies. And one, see if you have the right coverages still, because things change. You might be driving a different car. You might have more income. Your risk may have changed. Your location, like we talked about, might have changed. So there's a lot of reasons that policy needs to be reviewed. On top of it, might be worth it to check to see if there's other carriers that have better rates. They almost never go down, although I've got a few carriers that have gone down this year, which is yes for everybody. Finally, we can breathe a little bit. Other carriers are going up. So you're seeing a lot of that wave back and forth. And we're getting back to a normalcy where companies are fighting for your business with rates. If that's the case, then check the link below. There's independent agents that can work with you. Sometimes it's us, sometimes it's other people. As long as we're getting you taken care of is the main point. The biggest thing that you have to think about is make sure that your coverage for coverage, getting either the same or better coverage for what you're looking for. You don't want to leave a company you've been with for 5+ years just to join something that cut your bill in half because they cut your coverages in half. That happens way too often, and it only hurts you in the long run. Now you're stuck with a carrier that's going to raise your rate on the next renewal because you lowered your coverage. It's a trick in the system. So be very careful on how you do that. Make sure you trust the agent that you're working with. It never hurts to ask for a discount with your agent. So if there are new discounts that carriers have implemented, it never hurts there. If you're part of a group club with your work, if you're a large organization that's possible that you have a discount through them, then there's maybe a discount that your current insurance might give you. If you're a credit union member, any type of those discounts apply. Make sure that the agent that you're talking to understands that there's different ways that you could get a discount just by asking if there are any discounts. Those are the 5 ways that you might be qualified for getting lower prices on your car insurance. Let me know what your thoughts are. Is there anything that you've noticed on your policy that made a big impact that helped you get a better price? I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.